Now I want to space these so that I can get into ribs on the metal roof. So our ribs are 9 inches on center. Now the other thing we have to check for is how far our purlins are apart. That's what I have to catch. The wood strip that's underneath these screws. And those are 30 inches. The ribs are 9 inches on center. So I want to space this so I'm able to mount this framework onto the metal roof in the middle and on the ends. All right, I'm going to make my 2x4 uprights 32 inches. I'll go 31 7/8. Trying to get 3 out of an 8-footer here. So I'm going to center one right here. I'll go 1 3/4 from each side of 48 on these boards. That'll put me at the center of a rib. Come back 9, 9, 9, and 9. And that'll center me over here. And 1 3/4 this direction. So I'll put another 2x4 there. 1 3/4 this way. That puts it right there. Now let's get a measurement how far apart I want to put my cross pieces. These pieces here. So from there to there is 29. So if I go 1/2 inch on each side, that'll give me 30. Okay, there's the layout of our framework. Got some Dynagrip subfloor interior exterior construction adhesive. Alright, she looks square right there. Because there's only one screw in each of these, it's able to be racked now. So now I can check for square. I got 107 7/8 of an inch. I got 107 7/8 of an inch. Now we'll attach this with 4 screws. Okay, got all the screws in. Now we're going to mount the solar panels. Yeah, make sure I had those cords in the right spots. They're coming together in the center. Yep. I think that looks good right there. All right, I got some sheet metal screws that I bought for this. I thought they'd hold a little better. They got a nice little pan head on them. Yeah, they were 10 by 3/4. Nice and beefy. I think these are going to hold just peachy. They're definitely biting into the wood. My next step, I'm going to drill some pilot holes. I have some construction screws and I don't want to split anything, so I'm going to drill a hole right there near the edge on every one of these. And that'll be where I attach this to the roof. 4-inch, 5/16, and they're going to go right here near the edge. And those construction screws will go in just like that. This is ready to mount onto the roof. There, you're going to use a little butyl tape. Put it right here at the hole. And that'll seal that hole when I put my construction screw from the front into the metal roof. That'll seal that right up. I'm trying not to crush my rib too much there. That looks good there. Well, I can guarantee this is never going to come flying off from here. We have everything laid out here to wire up the solar system. We're going to have our solar panels over here. Here's the wire that's going to be coming in from the solar panels. Now you can fuse from these from the positive here to your charge controller. So you have the wires here. You can fuse here if you want to. Then you have your charge controller. Now you're going to want to fuse from the charge controller to your battery though. So I have a 15 amp fuse here. That's going to go from the charge controller into my wire. Then that positive and negative are going to go to the battery. Then from the battery, I'm going to put a fuse in to the positive on here like that. Then we're going to go to the positive wire here. And we're going to negative wire to the battery also. Then we're going to go into the fuse box or the fuse block. So let's run through that one more time. You have your solar panels over here. Your wires from your solar panels. You can put a fuse in between the wiring and the charge controller. I would suggest you look up whatever your system is, see if you want to put a fuse in there or not. You have your charge controller. You're definitely going to want to fuse from the charge controller to the battery. So with charge controller, fuse, battery. Then after the battery, you can fuse before you get to your circuit box. And then from the circuit box, you go to your branch circuits to power your lights or whatever. So you notice in this system here that I have, my system is just a 12-volt system. I am not using an inverter. If you are using an inverter, that'd be on this side of the battery, of course. And that's something, if you're going to use one, you look up your own information for that. But I'm not using an inverter. Now, when you start connecting all this, you got to remember one thing too. You don't want to start connecting at the solar panels into your charge controller then to your battery. It's going to fry your charge controller. You start at your battery, work backwards, so that when you finally hook your solar panels up, you have some place to dump that energy, and that's the battery. We'll put the battery in, and we're going to work backwards to the panels. So let's go ahead and bring this stuff inside, and we'll wire this up and get this ready for our branch circuits. Okay, now we're just going to connect our fuse to the battery wire. This goes from the controller to the battery, so we're going to fuse that. We said that before, remember? Yeah, we're going to pull on it, make sure that was crimped well. Good. There's the fuse. It's right here. Yeah, got a little piece of heat shrink here. Okay, nice and tight. Put the heat shrink on there. Just going to tidy these up a little bit. So we're just hooking up the charge controller now to the battery. Positive to positive, negative to negative. You see it powers on. There, everything's hooked up now. There, we'll detangle these wires here in a little bit. But again, we're not mounting that charge controller because I want to be able to get underneath it easier. So that is going to be mounted right up here on the wall like that. Now we're able to go ahead and drill into the cabin here and get those wires in from the solar panel. This is what happens when you hit a screw and you think its screw's going this way. So you moved it over a little bit and you hit it again. It's like, what's going on? I hit this one. Dumb luck, huh? Oh, well, a little bit of caulk right there and fill that, little dowels and fill that up. But there's the hole I need right here. We got tons of extra cable here. So we got everything neatly set up here, wound up here on my little shelf. We got the solar charge controller mounted up here on the wall. Some extra wiring coiled up neatly here. Here's the battery. And because this is a pulse width modulation charge controller, I wired my solar panels up on the roof in parallel. Let's take a walk outside and we'll see how those are wired. Now here's how you put these together in parallel. You take the positive off this panel, the positive off this panel, and they go into this connector here, and they come out as one wire. And you do the same thing with your negatives. Take the negative off this panel, the negative off this panel. They connect together and they come out as one. Now what's the difference and what's the basic difference between parallel and series hookup on your panels? Well, in parallel, you're combining your amperage of your panels, but not your voltage. In series, you're combining your voltage, but not your amperage. So if this is a 20 volt, if this outputs 20 volts and this one's outputting 20 volts, the way I have it wired, it's going to output 20 volts. But if I'm outputting 6 amps and this one's outputting 6 amps, it's combining the amperage to 12 amps into the charge controller. In series, 20 volts would output 40 volts. 6 amps and 6 amps output 6 amps. It all depends on how you want to hook your system up. I was kind of forced into that because of the cheapy charge controller, the pulse width modulation controller, the PWM controller, and because they put them in the kits because they are cheap, so it kind of forces you into the parallel system if it's a multi-panel system. It's going to be fine for my situation, but go ahead and do some research on your own and see what you'd want to do in your situation. All right, thanks for coming along. Got lots more to do on the tiny cabin. We still have to varnish the walls, put the floor in, and we also have to finish our electrical by putting our fuse block in and running our wires and our outlets and things. So we'll see you on those future videos. Thank you guys for coming along. I really appreciate it. If you could you hit that like button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of those videos, and share with your friends and families. I really appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. Hope you guys have a great day, and bye-bye.